Cheers to that. Hi. You're tuning in to episode 7 of the Life of JEM live video podcast. This episode is called Waitressing Days. But first, a word from our sponsor, right, April?
Yes, Hotbox Vintage, right here.
Hi, I'm Delilah, and I own Hotbox Vintage in South Pasadena, California. At Hotbox, our goal is curating vintage pieces that you can't live without. Our collection includes everything from the 1940s to even the early 2000s. What excites us is eclectic and unconventional styles, since there's no one-size-fits-all approach to fashion. Hotbox is priced for accessibility so that literally anyone can discover some vintage gems of their own. Plus, it's sustainable. Find us on Instagram and use code RAGHOUSE at checkout for 20% off your first order at hotboxvintage.com.
That's right. Use promo code RAGHOUSE for 20% off your first purchase.
That's a good discount, and they're open this Friday, right?
Oh my goodness, they're open this Friday. They're so excited. They haven't been open since COVID, and only limited amount of people inside the shop in South Pasadena, and limited people in the shop, but they're going to have stuff outside.
So check it out.
Yes.
So I also wanted to give a shout out to someone that helped me with my hair today, Rocka Beauty. That's ROCKABEAUTYY on Instagram. Check her out, Rocka Beauty.
Nice.
She's awesome. So you're watching our Life of JEM video podcast, and I have April Duran, my rock star producer, on
Hi,
today.
everybody. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you for doing it.
Sure. Anytime, girlfriend.
We've talked about this episode for a long time because we were both, what? Waitresses.
Waitress.
Bring me a drink.
Waitress. Excuse me.
So this episode is called Waitressing Days. And as you all know, this podcast is based on my Life of JEM blog. That's a decade-long blog. And you can find that blog on Blogspot or on my Life of JEM Facebook page. And by following me on that Facebook page, you also get this live stream, so you don't have to look for the video every week. You can also find the recorded versions on YouTube. And I also wanted people to know that for people that share my Life of JEM page or this podcast, I'm entering people into a drawing for the famous Life of JEM cup. We have two different versions. You can pick your version. That's the Costco version. This is an Amazon version. So if you share it, tag me, Life of JEM or Juanita Mance, and I'll enter you into the drawing. And that's going to end a week from today, just so everyone knows.
Awesome.
And today we have a riveting restaurant episode for you all. I know you all have been waiting for. This episode is about our waitressing days, cocktailing, waitressing, restauranting. I'm going to read a story that will set the stage for our conversation, and then April and I are going to talk about what it was like to waitress for so many years. How many years did you waitress for?
Geez, I want to say like 10, 12 years. All through my college career. I was on the 10-year program.
Oh, me too. I think I started waitressing in 1989, and I think I stopped in 1999 when I started at UC Riverside.
You know what I didn't even think about? Before I even started college, I was already waitressing. So yeah, we have tons of stories, girlfriend.
Oh my gosh, we have some good stories. And
bad.
Spoiler alert, April and I actually worked at the same restaurant at the same time with my little sister Annie for a bit, right?
And that's so crazy because Annie remembered, and I was so bummed because I pride myself that I remember lots of stuff when I was younger. And Annette, oh my goodness, when Jem told me, I was just like, wait a minute. And then I'm like, oh yeah. So yeah,
I
almost didn't remember
because I was always drunk back then. So I didn't remember working with April at that restaurant, but it was called Frontier Steakhouse, and we're going to talk about that. But first, let me read my story. It's a pretty short story, and it's called Waitressing Days. I always judge my friends on how they treat waiters and waitresses and how they tip. If someone is rude and doesn't tip well, then I have a hard time remaining friends with them. By those people, I mean elitist pricks. At the large Texas firm that I worked at for a couple of years, I was always amazed at how the wait staff seemed invisible to many of the lawyers, and how, while eating $100 dinner, They ignored the waiters and waitresses at best. To them, at least most of them, these people and their people were irrelevant. But that was not true in my case. They were my tribe. Before I became a corporate lawyer and a public defender now, I worked for more than a decade as a waitress to put myself through school. Name a restaurant and I have probably worked there. Don Jose's in Montclair.
Love that place. Or loved. Past tense.
Benji's in Upland. Marie Callender's in Covina for one day, I swear. Tony Roma's in West Covina. Applebee's in San Dimas. Rainforest Cafe in Ontario, California. Caro's in Riverside. And I've even done room service at a hotel. And that was the oddest job I had, and that was with my best friend, Melinda. My mom was also a waitress, and all my sisters and I waited tables. It is a noble profession, and despite what anyone thinks, you have to be wicked, wicked smart to be a good waitress. And I was an excellent waitress. I could take 10 tables at a time. There was a trick to it. You had to be able to do a million things at once and hold your bladder. The hardest job I ever had was the graveyard shift at Benji's coffee shop in Upland. The uniform was a peach polyester skirt. Hideous. My little sister Annie and I worked there, and you had to start out on the graveyard shift because all the old-time waitresses had the breakfast shift, which was the prime shift. And all the punks and little jerks from the clubs came in on the graveyard shift. They were drunk, they were obnoxious, they didn't tip for shit. But the worst part about that graveyard shift was staying awake and being polite. And I was always grumpy because I wanted to be out at the club, not slinging hash. And like I said earlier, I was an excellent food server and quickly moved to the breakfast shift and the lunches where the regulars tipped very well in Upland. My dad, John, he was alive at the time. This is back in 1990 something. And he would come visit me and sit at the counter and order an iced tea and leave me a quarter for a tip. And he would say, Jenny, you need to go to school. And I would say, I'm working on it, Dad.
Smart man.
I mean, I knew I was smart, but I didn't know how I would get to school. By get to school, I mean literally get to school. You see, I never had a working car. Transportation in my 20s was my biggest issue. And the best part about Benji's is that I lived on Arrow and Benson, and Benji's was on Central and Arrow, a mere 3 blocks away.
That's right.
I walked to work because I didn't have enough money for a car. And when my dad got a settlement for falling off the moving truck that he worked on, he bought me a little black Chevelle for $500 cash that we called the cockroach. But the cockroach was consistently breaking down. And, you know, to this day, when my clients can't get to court, I never let the warrant issue because I always think back to that 19, 20-year-old walking to work. And, like, I just, you know, I never took a bus. I was not a bus kind of girl. I would rather walk. In some ways, though, I miss those days. There was a beauty in the struggle. Like people say, it's all about the journey. It sucked, but in a lovely way. And something I can look back upon and write about, really. I don't miss the aching feet. I don't miss the smell of food in my hair or the $100 checks that I got stiffed on. But I guess what I'm saying here, as I sit here today, as a late 40-something lawyer who used to be a waitress for a decade and whose mom was a waitress, you know, these pink-collar jobs are a noble profession. Remember that the person waiting on you is a person. She's a person with hopes, dreams, ambitions. Look at her in the eye, talk to her, bring her a Christmas present, tip her well, joke around, always be polite. And if she is having a bad day, realize she may have had to call 3 people to get to work that day.
Yep.
Plus, you never know. Someday she may be your lawyer. That's my story.
Yeah, that's awesome how you added that at the end. Him or her, actually.
Yeah.
Him or her. And you know what totally got me right when I started to read your blog of this story? The first sentence. You said that's how you, like, not judge people, but your character, how you establish that person's character is how they treat the food server. And I think that is so dead on because me and John go back and forth, my fiance, and this is a story I'll tell you later, but I'm the same way. I over tip, and if somebody has to be super, super, super bad for me to give them 15%.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
exactly.
but I still tip them. So
always, yeah.
Yeah, so I hear you.
Yeah, and I think that for me, it's about, do you see your waitress? And when I worked at the corporate law firm, we'd go to these $100, $200 plate dinners. And I would really notice the people that would ignore the wait staff or just snap their fingers or just take them for granted. And I would always look at the little brown lady pouring my coffee and be like, thank you so much. Thank you. People who serve banquets are not doing it for the money. They're getting a set amount. Right. All they want to do is to be acknowledged, right? To be thanked. And just that gratitude is everything. And, when I also worked at the corporate law firm, my secretary was one of my best friends. So that's the difference, right? I came from this blue collar, pink collar, black background. And I really just always saw people for people, not for what they do. Because whatever you do is not who you are.
Exactly. And it's so funny because I've seen people when we sit down to eat, how like the server will come up, they don't even look, like you said, look at them in the eye. They don't even look at them. Their voice changes, their attitude changes. It's almost like the help, like, oh, you're below me. And I'm thinking, dude, she makes more money than you. What are you even like trying to do this? And that's kind of the same with like, and I'm going to kind of go off track, but the girls at the makeup counters, they always acted like super awesome. I mean, that's a whole different podcast. Yeah. We'll go into that. But yeah, just treat them well. I mean,
treat them well.
And they have access to your food. So
so be nice.
Yeah, because I have stories about that.
Yeah. And I think in some ways, being a former waitress, I can also be a little, I have high expectations. Like if someone's slow and you can see them just standing around, I do get annoyed. But, I always tip for it, and I'm always polite and I'm always kind. And I always think, who is this person waiting on me? They're probably in school. They're probably just, trying to make their bucks too, And the thing is, people don't realize waitresses, most of their money is tips.
Exactly.
Because the rest goes to taxes.
And we do, we do claim taxes. We do. But yeah, walking away with cash is always the best. I mean, that is just like, that was the best part. That's what sold me. I was just like, oh my goodness, what? I could have $150 after tonight. And that's huge when you're like 18. Well, that's huge still for me when I'm 47.
Oh yeah. And so you worked at Rusty Pelican. Where else did you work?
Oh my God. There's so many. Okay. Let's start with Zendejas. Zendejas right here in Rancho Cucamonga was the place that opened me up. I started as a hostess. And then everybody from like our schools and stuff, they would come through with their family. The one on by Sioux Plantation, rest in peace. And then
because Annie worked at the Zendejas in Ontario.
Oh,
there were multiple Zendejas.
Yeah, and the Zendejas family, they were crazy. But the Raul and Maria that I worked for, they were amazing. They even caught me giving away free margaritas to my mom and dad one time when they came, and they just said, April, can you pay for those margaritas? They didn't even fire me. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I worked there. Then I had this big dream to go to school in Florence, Italy. So somehow I got the Frontier job, quit in like a day. And then I got a job at Olive Garden in Montclair. And then that's what influenced me more to go to Florence for school, for college. And so just the pictures, they're cheesy.
That's the thing. Working as a waitress, you do you're working every Saturday and Sunday. You're working late at night. You're drinking with people after work. Right, exactly. You want the closing shift. You want to be the last one on the floor to take all the tables. That's who makes the money. But funny story about Frontier. So Frontier was this restaurant on Foothill and Vineyard.
I can't believe this story.
And we used to have to wear cowboy boots, and we had to open the restaurant. April, myself, and Annie, we all trained for weeks to open. It was a
brand new restaurant, brand new. It used to be before that burger place. Remember that was there our whole childhood.
Yeah. And so we opened the restaurant. You have like a family day where your family comes in, you serve them, and
like a practice day.
Yeah, and the place was a mess. The management was horrible. She was always high, and
I didn't even catch that. I was so naive. Yeah. I'm so naive still till this day. But go ahead. Sorry.
And so the first week of opening was a disaster. The opening was a disaster. The food was cold. The food was awful. Hated it. No one liked the food. The prices were ridiculous. And so we used to drink in the walk-in.
Not me. I never.
I did.
Even when I was older, cocktailing, I still would. I would always go, how can people drink? Because me, just like holding stuff. I mean, it was hilarious. But yeah, go ahead.
I usually didn't drink at work, and we just started doing it. Like we'd have one, one wine cooler, or take some wine out or a beer out of the spigot. And I must have overdid it. I probably didn't eat because I used to not eat back then. And we probably went to the gym during the day, and I didn't eat all day. I got to work. I probably had 2 or 3 glasses of wine in the wine cooler. And I remember nothing else. And I got a table of 20. And it ended up being the ABC, which is the Alcohol Beverage Control, the government organization. And there was 20
like
of them.
This is like a movie, dude.
And my sister Annie was like, Juanita, are you okay? You don't seem okay. And I was like, just bring them all iced tea. And so obviously they figured out their waitress was drunk. I got a complaint and I was fired that day.
You're lucky. Well, you couldn't have got arrested because you were what, 20? How old were you?
I was in my 20s, probably 21. Yeah.
That is so crazy. I don't even have that cool of a story as a waitress.
Really?
I never drank. All my friends did. The bartenders could drink. I don't even know if they still can.
You could drink back then.
You can't now.
No.
Oh, okay. Because I remember the bartenders would always slip people shots.
Yeah.
And I could never do it because I just had to be on my top game.
Oh, 100%. When I worked at Applebee's in San Dimas, I never drank there because we were so slammed, and I made good money there. I made a couple hundred every night.
That's when Applebee's was awesome.
In San Dimas, and I worked the bar tables. So, but one night, first we started a newsletter, so I got in hot water with the management because they weren't giving us breaks. I was a lawyer even back then. So I started this underground newsletter about violations that they were doing.
Nice.
Me and my friend got fired. They kept me on. But then my friend came in who was 21, but we had a no tolerance policy at that time. So they gave me 14 tables at once. It was during happy hour, so everyone wanted their wings, and they sat like 10 to 14 tables.
14 tables?
Yes, came in, and I was the only one there. And I'm running around. The bartender's trying to help me. So I bring my friend a beer, who is 21, and the manager comes up to me, and he says, "Did you ask him for ID?" And I said, "Of course, he's my friend from college. He's 21. He's at Cal Poly." And he went up to him, checked his ID. He didn't have his ID, so they suspended me. When I finished my shift, which was the messed up thing.
Oh, God.
I had just started UC Riverside. So this is 1999. It had taken me so many years to get to UC Riverside, transferring in. And they ended up firing me. But then I argued my case before unemployment and won it because they should have never required me to be doing the whole restaurant.
Yeah, 14 tables is like disaster. Yeah. That's like you can't even
think.
I mean, 10 tables I think is max that I've ever done. And I had them come in like at different times. But we have a lot of people saying stuff on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Cindy said, "Hi all. Tracy's in the house. Jackie's in the house." Hi, Jacki. What's up, Jacki? Cindy said, "Absolutely truth. She might be your boss too." Which is funny. It's all about people and relationships. Always tip. Cindy said, "Tip well. It could be dinner for the kids."
Totally.
Yes, I know.
I mean, especially right now, restaurants are struggling. So now when I go out to even takeout, I tip 15%.
Me too.
Because those are waiters and waitresses and bartenders that are working the takeout.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, John. I love you so much, my fiance. But he goes, "It's just a pickup. It's just, I'm all tip them. So he's
put it
tipping.
Together. Yeah.
I know. So I have a crazy story, and this is
okay. Tell
this is nuts. You don't even know the story. I haven't even shared it with you. But when I worked at Rusty Pelican, I was just finishing up my community college at OCC. So Rusty Pelican is badass. I love that restaurant. If anybody knows, it's right there by the marina. People like reserve their table like a year in advance for the boat show. The boat light show for Christmas for the holidays. Anyways, I worked on the top level, which was cocktailing. So I was a cocktail, but we had a mini menu. So I loved working there because I made so much money. The only thing that sucked is we had to wear black tights. And if when you wear tights, you get angry ass. That's what we used to call it, because you'd walk around, your butt would sweat.
Swamp butt.
It was just so gross, man. And we'd have to park across the street. So I remember walking and getting chafed. My butt cheeks would chafe because at the end of the night, anyways, I was young, so I didn't even care. But at one point, there was an evening I had walked in, and there was this troubled table, and my manager was like all like sweaty. I could tell she was awesome. She's just like, I walk in and she's like, "April, we have this table. It's giving, I forget what her name was, but she was young." And now that I think about it, when I say young, she must have been 18. Wow. Because I was young. I was like 21 or 22 or something. She goes, so-and-so has it. And we knew she all didn't have that much experience. The young girl waiting on table, she was crying. And the manager room. Some people shouldn't
waitress is the rule, actually.
Yes. So
you're either a good one or a very bad one.
Yes. And I was always good because I always have this thing, like I wanted them to like me. You know, like I just want it. So right away, you could tell right away, right when you walk up to the table, are they people do they want you to talk to them?
Yeah.
Do they want to be left alone? So right away when you get that vibe, you know how you're going to serve the table.
You got to read them.
Yeah, you got to read them right then and there. So I walked up to the table and I was thinking, well, I'll just, flash a smile and pretend like I don't know that they're a troubled table. So I walk up to the table. It's a man and a woman, and we would call them suits. So in Orange County, we would get suits, and everybody wanted those tables because they tipped well because they were on the business card, right? So fat tip because they didn't care. Yeah, it wasn't their 20
money. To 30%.
Exactly. So sure enough, I walk up, flash a smile. How can I help you? Whatever. The lady looked at the guy and said, "Oh, this one's stupid too." That's how they started the evening. I could go so on angry. And on. It was almost like out of a horror, like one of those really bad like B-C movie horror movies. I felt like as if I was like on a show, like, oh, this is a joke, because they came at me over and over with like these like rude, belittling comments with everything. It was almost like they were trying to make me cry.
No one should have to take that.
And I almost cried out towards the ending because they were there for like another hour and a half. And I think they had been there an hour prior. And so we didn't have any limitations on seating in the cocktail lounge. So I just kind of, and finally when they left, I just remember going, oh my goodness. I remember calling my mom.
And did they tip you? I bet not.
I don't even remember the tip. All I remember is their faces. It was a man and a woman. And they were just total freaking assholes. And I'll never forget that. And my mom remembers that story. Yeah. My mom, till this day, she remembers that story because she heard it in my voice. Because I called. I was like, Mom. I never really called her about work, so... Yeah. So for some reason, they were just out to get people and like be mean. And I don't think you could do that this day and age because...
I think you could. I think people do.
Oh, you still think they do stuff like that?
Mean people are mean people, you know?
That's true.
But for every bad customer, you had like 10 good ones was the great thing about waitressing. My favorite part was just meeting people. They become part of your family, the regulars.
Oh, I never had that.
Well, especially at coffee shops.
Oh,
you have old people, old men coming in every morning for their breakfast. And at Applebee's, we had the same people coming in for dinner or for drinks every night. In San Dimas, it's a very small community.
It is. And the food serving staff is very small community. Like you said, party after, even though I never really partied with anybody after, but if the bartender didn't like you, your drinks were always up last.
Or if the cook didn't like you.
Oh, if the cooks, you better know some Spanglish, man, because then, you just, throw it out. Ahorita, cebolla adentro, por favor, whatever, just whatever. But yeah, waitressing, I love waitressing, and it really, I know this sounds cheesy, but it really like established like who I was growing up in customer service, right?
Yeah, totally. To this day, I tell people at the public defender's office, if I was ever in charge of hiring, I would hire waitresses, former waitresses that were good waitresses and waiters, because I think that there's a certain kind of people person that you get when you're customer service orientated, and that translates to whatever you do in your life.
Exactly.
Whether it's lawyering. I have never not returned a phone call.
Oh, really?
No.
That's
within
awesome.
24 hours usually.
That's good.
When it's a weekend, 48 hours. But yeah, I have this thing about responsiveness. And I think the most thing that people want is to be heard and to be acknowledged. Even our rule at Applebee's, within 1 minute. Be right with you, throw the napkin down. Because people want to know you see them, even if you're slammed and they have to sit there for 5 minutes. As long as the worst thing is when you go into a restaurant and no one acknowledges you.
And I think that's a trend right now. Yeah. I think that the youth, not all the youth, I don't want to stereotype the whole, because my son, or the Gen Z, that's what my son calls himself. He's 14. But a lot of times we'll go into restaurants and there are younger people and they're standing there talking in a bunch, and you're just like,
or they're on their phone.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet. And no one has walked up to your table yet and greeted you or anything. And I'm just like, oh man, don't do this.
That's the number one rule. Acknowledge your customers. And I remember when I worked after I got fired from Applebee's and got unemployment, it was the best 2 years of my life at UC Riverside, because I was on unemployment for a year of that, where I got like $800 a month or something. I didn't even have to work. And I was going to school full time. And I was like, thank you, baby Jesus. But then once that ran out, I went to... I tried to get a job at Rainforest Cafe, and we opened the Rainforest Cafe in the Ontario Mills, which is closed right now. Yeah, I opened that restaurant. Yeah. But the worst part about Rainforest Cafe was not that it was all kids with parents, so it was awful. People didn't tip well because it's Ontario and it's expensive, the restaurant was. But the worst part is when you walked up to the table, you were required to give a 5-minute spiel. Hi, my name's Juanita Mance. I'll be your tour guide for today. Let me tell you how many gallons of water are in this aquarium. People would be like, can I order? I'd be like, I must do my spiel. May I finish, please? You were required to do the spiel. And by the end of it, people were just like, please shut the
heck
up. No one wanted to hear it.
I have I'm non-diagnosed. What is it? AC or whatever.
ADHD.
I said ACDC. Anyways, yeah. And if they don't say, what can I get you to drink? Or if they have to start talking about specials, they lose me. I'm just like gone because I would rather just look at the menu or whatever.
Me too.
And you know what's my other pet peeve? Oh my goodness, I can't even handle this. And nobody really knows this unless you wait on tables. But when you go to a restaurant and there's tables open and there's a wait list and people are going, well, that table's open and that table's open and and I'm like, that's why I think
things are stations, people.
Yes.
They're stations.
And there might only be 1 or 2 food servers on, so they can't have anyone in that station. Yes, there's open tables, but they can't seat those tables because nobody's there to serve for them. And all the time, I could hear people, well, and that's why I think it should be required in high school. It should be a course, food serving. You should go for customer service and for, just so people get to know, human on human, whatever. But yeah, because
they literally would use a map back in the day. It was a map of all the tables and the pink ones you could see, the yellow ones were closed. And you could not see outside of your station because you know what happened? Your waitress had to run across the whole restaurant.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I remember when we worked at Applebee's in San Dimas, they didn't give us breaks like they were supposed to. They got sued later for it. But I mean, you used to have to use the restroom so bad and you would literally run in the restroom, pull your pants down, go. Okay, run back. Because you didn't even get a break back then. You'd eat chicken fingers out of the basket, like someone, like if they made too much food.
Rusty Pelican had lobster on the menu, and I am not kidding you. I never did this, but if somebody didn't know how to eat their lobster and there was pieces still in there, the guys would go to the back and eat the lobster. I never did that. I never ate off someone's already eaten plate.
No, me neither.
But a lot of guys, because everybody there was in college. They were, they were scratching their pennies, saving their pennies.
Well, at Applebee's, when they put the riblet basket up with the fries, you grab a fry. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten all day. I mean, we'd eat crackers. We'd eat crackers with ranch. Yeah. You'd make yourself a salad. But I mean, the best part of one of the best places to work was Don Jose's because they gave us, I think it was 75%, it might have been 50% off the food. But I mean, you could eat so well for pretty much nothing and they would take it out of your check at the end of the week. So you didn't even have to bring money with you. And my friend Melinda and I both worked there and we wore these big flower uniforms and we'd always share the arroz con camarones de pollo, the shrimp and chicken with rice. Oh my God. And it was huge. And it was like $2 each to eat.
Oh my God. Olive Garden in Montclair, we used to shove those yummy breadsticks and that was our dinner. We would have the breadsticks and the little chocolates, the mint chocolates, the Andes. That was our dinner. So breadsticks, Andes, that was everyone's dinner. And that place was nuts. The girls, because again, everybody's in college, the girls would steal the tampons and the toilet paper to take home because they all lived across the street in those apartments. This is Olive Garden in Montclair, you guys, still there. And I will
say this. By the mall, right?
Yes, by the mall. And I would say this because they redecorated, they cleaned, they gutted everything out. But when they had the old booths there was a booth that was known where everybody, because it was in the corner, we'd have to roll all our silverware towards the ending of your shift. That was the booth where people would party and have sex. That is gross. And so that's why we still go.
The cheese may about Olive Garden.
Yes, it was that booth. And I would think, oh my goodness. And everybody was in love with the manager, Steve, which I have no reason why. He was balding. I don't know why, but they were like, yeah, there was a lot of crazy stuff. Cochinas all over the place.
And I mean, the best part about waitressing was the friends you made. I'm still friends with a lot of my friends from Applebee's. My friend Kim, my friend Cassie. We're all still friends, and Deanna Diaz and Fuqua. I mean, there's something about waitressing. It's almost like being in battle together because when you are slammed and you need a hand, hey girl, please help me take this food out, or getting someone to help you with a birthday song, that was the worst.
Oh, those are bad.
Do a birthday song. What birthday songs do you know?
Oh my God, I can't even remember. I think we just did Happy Birthday. You must know one then.
I know all of them.
Okay, say one. Sing one.
This is your birthday song. No, it's not very long. Thank you. That was our quick one, but we had longer ones,
Yeah.
There's ones based on, the song Tequila. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Wish you a happy year. We're glad that you came to see us to celebrate your birthday here. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Come and have a shot of tequila.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
I know a ton. I mean, I could go all day.
Okay, so horrible shoes, Jackie said. Angry ass. Tracy liked angry ass. Oh my God, blah tights. Yeah, nobody likes sore tights. Ugly shoes, Jackie for sure, Tracy said. Probably at the Frontier. Danskos, Melinda said Danskos. Oh, that's that one dance. Is that one dance shop at Montclair Plaza?
Melinda, what are you talking about here? She might be talking about, because Melinda and I worked a bunch of places together, Don Jose's. But then when I was in college, we worked,
dance.
The creepiest thing I ever did was do room service.
Oh, yeah, that's what you said.
And it was creepy, and it was right there, Ayers Hotel Suites right by the airport on Vineyard.
Oh my God, dude.
And
are you okay?
No, I was fine. I mean, the hotel was nice. They had a restaurant.
Oh, okay.
So we worked in the restaurant, but then we also did the room service. And you used to have to get this cart and wheel it across the courtyard to people's rooms. And then you'd knock. The guy would open the door. It was just always creepy to me. Like, I always got like
did you ever get someone naked?
Towel, robe, yeah. And then I'd just be like, okay, good. Bye.
Yeah, later. Here's your hot dog,
But
dude.
people don't tell you, you make bank on room service.
How?
Because you make your service charge, and then you make and they always tip you over.
Oh my goodness.
I always do. When I do room service, it's usually like a $10 service charge, and then the tip, and then I always tip another $5 or $10.
So you get the service charge?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know that. So Vegas, all those people are making bank.
They're making bank. Yeah.
Because I know I tip good, because room service to us is so fun.
Oh my
love room
gosh,
service.
it's the best. I am a room service queen. We go to this place in Vegas and we get a suite, and I'll just like order room service for breakfast, and I don't even eat a lot. I'll like share a bacon and eggs with my mother-in-law and order my husband a breakfast, share a big pot of coffee. So I mean, it's probably like it'd be a $40 breakfast. It's like $100 for room service.
Right.
But there's something about them wheeling in the cart, putting everything out for you. I'm wearing my robe, but I wear something under it. It's not like I'm like creepy in it.
No, room service is the best. And the food always tastes better because you're like in the comfy bed, and their pillows always are awesome. Well, in Vegas, where where we stay, I don't even remember where we stay. John sometimes even takes pictures of the pillow tag because he's all, those are the best damn pillows ever. But yeah, room service.
Planet Hollywood in Vegas on the Strip has P.F. Chang's room service.
Whoa.
Oh, those fire dynamite shrimp in the middle of the night. Oh my God.
But there's nothing like an awesome hotel, but then you could still order pizza, and you get you get back after a whole night of partying, and you just know, let's just order pizza, and then the pizza comes out.
And you know what? That was the worst part. When my husband and I went to France, we stayed with my cousin in Rhone for 3 or 4 days, but then we also went to Paris, and you cannot get room service in Paris. You cannot get delivery pizza, none of that. Everything shuts down like at 10.
Yes, you're right. And then in Italy, and then the same thing in Italy, there's a siesta, where you can't order
in
food.
France too.
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
I think it's between
lunch
2 and 4
dinner.
or something, 2 and 5. Yeah.
And nothing's open. And I just remember us, you always knew who the American students were because they'd be walking around all hungry like, oh my God, where's the McDonald's or whatever, because nothing's open.
Well, I wanted to go to McDonald's in Paris, and my husband wouldn't let me because I wanted to go in and say, could I have a Le Big Mac, please? I just wanted to say it. And he's like, you cannot go in there.
Yeah, you'd have to have mayonnaise with your French fries too, and pay for it. And it's time to call your sister at 7:34.
Oh, she's supposed to call me, but let's call her.
Did she try calling you? Or?
Let's call her.
Okay. I haven't talked to Annie since high school.
Hopefully she answers. And if anyone else wants to call in after Annie, the phone number is 909-534-5684. That's 909-534-5684.
Your sister said, come on, be real. About something. I don't know.
Oh, which sister?
Jackie.
Oh.
Where's Annette?
Your call has been forwarded to an automated...
She's busy.
Slacker. She had to pick up my mom, so she might be on the road. Yeah, she was picking up my mom. I talked to her. She got off work at 6:30, so hopefully she'll call in. If anyone else wants to call in, 909-534-5684. So I have some questions. Were you ever stiffed on a huge check?
not stiff, just given a really, really bad tip.
Yeah.
How about you?
Oh, a lot, because I worked at so many different places in so many different varying areas. But I remember one time, it was at Applebee's San Dimas, and this party came in at,
Oh, there she is.
that's Jacki. This is JEM. Who's this? This is JEM. Who's this?
This is Jacki, since the Annie Banani didn't answer the phone.
Hi, Wonder Twin. It's Wonder Twin.
Hey, okay, I'm going to George Costanza. Hell yes, I ate food off people's plates.
Oh, my God.
And so did Juanita. Come on, Juanita.
Hey, Jacki, you got to tell April where else you worked. You worked in Ontario Mills, too, at that creepy restaurant that had the zoo, right? What was it called?
I did. Oh, my gosh. I can't remember.
You were the manager there.
Where?
I was a server, then a bartender, then a manager. And by the way, restaurant management is 100 times worse than serving ever.
I can imagine.
It's horrible. I don't know why I did it.
You had to work weekends all the time. You're like a babysitter for all the servers, right?
Well,
Never got a day off.
You make less money.
Oh, my goodness.
You get free food.
Oh, that's
true.
big. That's a big deal.
Jacki was always a really good worker as far as like going into management. When I was a waitress, I was always arguing with them or calling in sick. I was pretty irresponsible in my youth.
I called in sick a lot.
Yeah, I called in sick because I was
hungover.
sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Especially when I worked at when I was going to SDSU down in San Diego. When I worked at Crocodile Cafe, I don't think it's there anymore in the mall. Yeah, but a lot of people would always just call in sick, and everyone knew it was because it was somebody was hungover or something.
Well, I remember working, Jacki. Do you ever? Jacki used to drink back then. She doesn't anymore. But I used to have to work on New Year's Day, and that was always the worst day to work because everyone was hungover, running into the restroom to throw up. Hey, Jacki, what was your favorite restaurant you worked at?
My goodness, I've worked at so many. I really like Stinky Stevens. It was a steakhouse off of a mountain.
Where was that?
I know. Who would name
Kind of
the
by
restaurant?
Sneakers, below Sneakers, where Sneakers was.
God. Oh my God. You guys are bringing back way too many memories.
But the restaurant I really did like was Wilderness Grill, and that was in the mall by Rainforest, and Rainforest put us out of business. And it was a zoo, a restaurant, and a retail store. Don't ask me why.
I don't even know that. I
They
didn't
had
even
like
know that.
animals there behind glass. It was the
What?
creepiest shit. Like at least Rainforest, it was animatron. But Wilderness Grill, they had like a bobcat.
I don't even know that place. That's hilarious. You know what?
No
Actually,
one knew it. That's
I
why it
didn't
closed
live
down.
here. Yeah, I didn't live here. How long was it open for? Like a year or something, or just months?
No, for about 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
It did
Oh, my
good in
goodness.
Rainforest. So it went out of business the year after Rainforest went there. It was actually a pretty cool restaurant itself, and they had really good pizza. They were one of the first places to do like that whole wood-fired. And I'm dating myself. This is like 1999.
Oh, see, I was living in Santa Barbara at that time in 1999. Yeah, so that's why.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't know what was going on there.
Yeah.
But that would have been cool to
Right.
like eat a pizza by a bobcat.
It was kind of like a museum. It was really actually creepy and kind of like the food wasn't. I didn't like the food, Jacki. I actually liked Rainforest. No, you know what? I think Wilderness's food was better than Rainforest, but Rainforest had all the bells and whistles and the waterfall.
Well, we haven't talked about the hidden secret of restaurants, how the chefs are crazy. And they have the craziest chefs there. So, you always do the rule, get along with your chef, right? Or you get shitty food.
Yep.
So I always got along with the crazy chef.
That is crazy. That's crazy. Like Rusty Pelican had the chefs, the crazy chefs, and then have you guys ever had to open bottles of wine? And that's before I even drank wine.
God.
So I would stress out.
Worst. Especially in fine dining, you have to open it a certain way
and do all the things. And I would, my armpits would just start sweating right when they're like, "Where's the wine list?" I'm like, "No, don't order a bottle of wine." I'll never forget that.
And back then, they didn't have there's easier ways to open a bottle of wine now with technology. But back then, we were using the old-fashioned corkscrew.
Old thing. Yeah. And again, I wasn't drinking wine back then, so I had no clue, and I would just flip out. And oh my god,
it was stressful.
It was stressful just for wine. And now I would just be able to do it with like my one eye closed and with a hand behind. Yeah.
Well, I have to say this: the worst part when I worked at Benji's, I worked there a couple of years because, like I said, it was right in my story. It was right down the street from my house. We used to have to make sundaes and shakes for people by hand. Scoop the ice cream out of the ice cream bin, like at Thrifty's. Put it in the shake mixer, which was this big silver contraption. Make the shake, put it in a glass, put whipped cream and a cherry on it and a straw and bring it to the table. And this is on the graveyard shift.
Forget it. Forget that.
Just our side work. Just our side work at Benji's would take you an hour. You'd have to refill all the salad bar, because it was clean. You'd have to redo the iced tea dispenser. It was awful.
Well,
what were
at
you
least
going to say,
you
Jackie?
redid.
Yeah.
I just want to ask about the hidden secret, like those restaurants, since you worked there, you would never go eat again.
Oh,
yeah.
So there's restaurants that do things that are not like, hygienic. And then there's restaurants like Ruby's Diner I used to work at as a manager, and they were amazing. I would go to Ruby's any day.
Yeah.
Would I go to Yankees in Ontario? Heck no.
No, because you worked there and they used to reuse those Chinese noodles, right?
Oh,
yes, the owners would say, "Go put those back," and I'd throw water on them on purpose, and then the owner would say, "I know you put the water on there."
That is hilarious. I would, you know what, I have to say, and I'm not going to throw out the restaurant because it's, but the tea, I would never order tea in a restaurant because they said, "April, can you clean the tea?" The square thing where you brew the tea.
The iced tea, yeah.
The iced tea. And I remember I got a towel and I wiped one side and it was probably this thick of like caca.
And mold.
I'm sure there was mold in there.
Yeah.
And people were drinking. And tea, that's why I never drink tea. Ever. And
as Seinfeld taught us, don't ever order decaf in the evening at a restaurant because they're going to bring you regular because there's never decaf made because no one orders it because it's a waste of space and time.
That's true.
Drink some caffeine. You may not sleep. Remember that episode?
I don't remember that episode, but the other thing you don't want to do, again, and I stress this, is mess with people who are serving your food, because I didn't do it, but my good friend at Crocodile Cafe, I saw her spit a big loogie in a Coke to a lady that was being a bitch to her. So don't.
Just be nice. Just be nice. And tip. The thing I would say is if you ever see a rat at a restaurant, never eat there again. I worked at one restaurant and it's a chain restaurant. I will not say the name, but there were rats in the rafters. The restaurant since was closed down by the health department, and we would see them up there, and you'd just be waiting on your table and being like, "Don't look up, don't look up."
Or you could hear them.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
And when I worked at Tony Roma's, one of my worst stories is I had this horrible manager. She was so mean to me. She ended up firing me because I had 2 jobs and I had to go to another job to a work meeting. And she found out that I had the second job and fired me. Ridiculous. I should have sued them. We used to have to do our own bread at Tony Roma's, and those ovens were like 800 degrees to get that bread crispy.
Right.
And we'd put the garlic loaf in and we'd have to bring it out with the pan. And I burned my arm one day and I still have the scar to prove it.
Oh my goodness.
They didn't even send me home. They put a Band-Aid on it. And I had like a serious burn that was blistered and like oozing, and I worked my whole shift with a friggin' Band-Aid on my arm from that bread oven.
You should have worked at El Ranchito. Now, that's another restaurant. I worked at the one in Corona Del Mar, but all my friends worked at the cool one that was in Newport Beach. A girl, there was one of the customers had ordered a shot where you put fire, the fire. It blew up in her arm, and I bet you homegirl is still getting money till this day. They asked her not to sue them and not to report it, and they'll give her a certain amount of money. She never shared the amount, but she got a lump every month. Wow. And I bet, and her arm was just a little bit burned. Jackie, are you still there with her twin sister?
Are you there, Jackie?
We lost her.
Oh, she's there. Oh no, I lost her. Jackie, thank you for calling in.
Sorry,
we love
Jackie.
You.
Yeah, we
You're
love
the
you.
best. Thank you for calling in and making up for Annie.
Yeah.
Not her fault though, I know. So what else? I just wanted to mention a couple things.
Okay.
The best part about waitressing is like you can even see yourself in film. Remember the show Alice?
Yes.
It was
I
a
love
film,
Alice.
and then it was made into a TV sitcom.
And I watched that, and I remember that, Flipper,
Kiss
and
my
Gentle
grits.
Ben. I used to watch those in the summer when I was little. So again, dating ourselves. I'm 47, but
And then we both bartended, right?
you know what? I never bartended.
Okay.
Cocktail waitress.
Yeah. Cocktailing was the worst. I never enjoyed cocktailing. I think it's because it's like just running around and you don't really get to spend time with your tables.
But I did do cocktailing at Rusty Pelican's, but we had the little menu.
The food.
Yeah. So I still had a chance to like mingle with the customers. But yeah. So.
And that's how Applebee's and San Dimas was when you worked the bar tables around the bar. It was just kind of like cocktailing, but people were eating too. And that's where you made the good money, is when people are drinking and eating.
I think my favorite is that I don't like sitting down. So my favorite part of waitressing was the fact that I was able to walk around. I had the freedom. I wasn't stuck. There wasn't somebody over my shoulder. And I had the ability to just like make cash and make money. And if you were really, really good, you could make really good money.
Can you imagine how many steps we did back then?
Oh, no. I mean, I didn't even have to work out really.
Oh, no, I was thin.
Yeah. It was
I
great.
didn't have to do anything because you probably burned a couple thousand calories on it.
On top of
shift.
stressing, and if you get like sat like 4 tables at once, you're just like, but yeah, I love waitressing for that. Cocktailing, especially at Rusty Pelican, Crocodile Cafe. Gosh, Olive Garden. The only thing I did dislike was we had to carry those big trays.
Those trays are hard.
And you have
they're
to
hard
train.
on your back. And they're
it was
hard on
scary.
your arms. You need a lot of arm strength to carry those trays.
Oh, dude.
We did those at Don Jose's. We did the tray.
Yeah.
And you used to have to, you weren't allowed to hold it like this. You had to hold it on your hand.
With the thing. And then, but at Zendejas, I learned how to hold 4 plates on one arm. So this is the balancer. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'd have one here and I'd just be all.
I can still do it.
Oh,
like when I have a party, I used to bring people plates and they'd be like, how do you do that? I'm like, waitressing for 10 years.
Yeah, totally.
It does teach you that balance. And I remember at Don Jose's, we sometimes would carry the margaritas on the tray, and that was always a big mistake because that shit always fell on someone.
Cindy wants to know, what is your favorite restaurant ever?
Okay.
We have to, it's already been an hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, ate the food off the plate. That's fine. I love bartending versus serving at Red Lobster, says Tracy.
Oh, Tracy was
cheddar
waitress.
biscuits.
Oh, cheddar
at
biscuits.
Red Lobster. And geez, God, there's a lot of comments
So
here.
I think even though, I had issues with their management at the time, I really did love working at Applebee's and San Dimas because location.
Yes.
Small community, relatively affluent, good tips, good friends for life. That was my favorite. What was yours?
I want to say...
there's Annie. Let's answer this real quick. Hi, who's this?
Hello.
It's Annie! It's Annette. Hi, Annette!
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? Oh my goodness, what is it, like 35, 40 years later? I finally get to talk to you. You're still beautiful as ever, girlfriend.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Oh,
It's a reunion. Annie and April went to school together. Obviously, they were in the same year, right?
Same year, and Annette had the most beautiful big smile, and I always wanted her toothy smile. It's gorgeous.
So, Annie, do you remember the Frontier story?
Yes.
Was that a day from hell or what?
Yes, especially for you.
What'd you say?
I don't remember it vividly, but I remember bits and pieces. So how I remember it might be a little bit different.
How do you remember it?
I remember getting in trouble, or you getting in trouble for drinking at work. So we were all drinking, but you served the investors of Frontier Steakhouse.
Oh, that's who it was. It wasn't ABC. It was the investors.
Oh my goodness.
It was the investors, and you told them, they said, I don't have blue cheese, I have ranch, and you go, just eat it.
I wish I could say that now. Just eat it. What dressings do you have? We just have ranch. Just eat it.
Kiss my grits.
That's awesome.
Annie, what was your favorite restaurant you worked at? Was it Applebee's in San Dimas?
It was Applebee's in San Dimas or Zendejas in Ontario.
Oh, yeah. I worked for Raul and Maria. Who owned the one in Ontario?
Oh, goodness.
it begins with an M. I don't even remember now. Jose and Martha.
Oh, yes, the brothers. Yeah.
And they had the son who was the kicker for the Rams, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, he was like good for 2-3. And there was some, did you see that thing that he supposedly did? Not that. Oh, yeah, we won't talk about that.
Didn't he die? I thought he died.
Oh, did he pass away? I didn't know he passed away.
I think he did. Yeah,
oh my goodness.
Heard he did. So let's just talk real quick. We're almost out of time, but do you think restaurants will survive, Annie? What do you think about that?
I do, but only certain ones will survive.
Yeah.
So the ones that are changing with times will survive. The other ones that become stagnant will not survive.
Yeah, like bye Soup Plantation, right?
Yeah.
And I love that place.
You and Melinda love that place.
Yeah.
I hate Soup Plantation. I always think that food's been sitting there all day. Sorry, Soup Plantation. But I think restaurants that build an outdoor patio or that focus on open environments with air circulation, I think they will survive.
They will survive.
People are going to want to go out more than ever in the next couple of months.
Yes.
I mean, because I'm done.
Yeah.
I want to eat outside. What about you, Annie?
Oh, yeah, I like to eat outside. So I'm not going to go anywhere that serves inside at this point. But the outside ones, I'll go to dinner or breakfast.
Yes, when it's not hot, right?
We need to go to State and have brunch soon.
Where?
The State in Rancho. We can sit outside on the little bar area.
Oh, yes, I like that.
You need
place.
to go with us, April.
I will, or Bordeaux in Claremont, downtown Claremont.
Oh,
Bordeaux's fun.
The French restaurant?
Yes.
That's one of my favorite. Annette, have you eaten there at the French restaurant in downtown Claremont by the movie theater? Oh,
not yet. We're gonna go.
Okay, we're gonna go have brunch there. It's all you can eat outdoors. Thank you for calling in, Annie. We love you.
Love you, Annie. It was nice talking to you.
For everybody who does go out to eat, make sure you tip your servers well because they don't have as many tables. So
that's right.
For those servers to survive,
Exactly.
We got to show the love.
Thank you, Anna Banana. Have a great night.
Bye.
Thank you for calling in. Love ya.
Bye, April.
Bye.
Thank you, Jackie, for calling in too.
Yes.
So I have a couple announcements. Life of JEM is going to take a break. I just started my creative writing MFA. And,
good luck. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the studio's closing for the holiday week anyway. So we're going to be back in a month. So my next show will be on September
23rd.
23rd. That's a Thursday. Yep, September 23rd. And I have a special guest planned. Her name's Liz Gonzalez.
Oh, wait, I think I know that name.
She's amazing. She's a nonfiction writer and poet. She's focusing on her creative nonfiction right now, but she's an amazing writer. She came out with her book, Dancing in the Santa Ana Winds.
Ooh.
You can look it up. It's available on Amazon. I also write about it on my blog. I wrote a review of it. Liz Gonzalez, small L, small G. No caps on her name. And she's amazing. So she's going to be my guest on the next show.
Exciting. I can't wait.
And it's going to be about writing. And it's going to be about writing memoir and family history.
And that's September 23rd?
Yes. September 23rd, 7 p.m. as usual.
Nice.
Thank you, April, for coming on.
This was fun. I knew it'd be fun. Cheers, girlfriend.
Cheers. Have a good day. Thank you. Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Tip your wait staff. Tip your bartenders.